Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sergeant Cheetos, and in today's video we're doing another Pokemon art style swap, and that's where we take one character and give him a 2-stage evolution in the Pokeverse. And today we're doing my boy Stitch. And before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. Alright guys, let's get started. And right off the bat, I was thinking bug type vibes, only because he has 4 arms and 2 legs. I thought that would be a perfect fit. But as you guys see, this sketch, I just wasn't enjoying it. He looked like a weird ladybug, so I decided to scrap it. And I decided to restart it and start by just sketching him out and seeing what comes out organically. And it just so happens that while drawing that big old happy grin with those big old chompers, it started to give me a little bit of a sea creature vibe, and slowly but surely everything started to fall into place. The arms fit perfectly in there. I gave him a little bit of a webbing, so obviously he's a sea creature, so he's got to be able to be mobile. And his feet, I turned them into flippers, which just honestly everything was just falling into place, which is why whenever I feel like I'm getting stuck, I decide to just start sketching and drawing organically, and eventually something comes out of it, like this. I mean, those ears, I wouldn't have thought about drawing them, but somehow I started to get a little bit of swamp monster slash mermaid vibe. And that's just for me. In general, my thought process whenever I'm drawing anything, I like my drawings to make sense. And as for this one, I do always try to make the first version of the Pokemons look extra adorable, and I felt like these stripes they added gave them that little bit of adorableness of a little tiger shark, I don't know. And as for the color scheme, as you guys can tell, I literally ripped it right off of Stitch and threw it onto his Pokemon version. And lastly, I'm extremely happy with how this came out, which is honestly one of my favorite drawings that I've done. I feel like this accomplished everything in making him look like a Pokemon as well as a Disney character. Alright guys, and let me know what you guys think of stage 1, and let's get started with stage 2. I start sketching him out, and just keeping in mind that I want to make him look a little bit like a swamp monster, and I just let my finger take me on a journey and just see where it takes me. And one big thing I did use for inspiration was that sea creature from the movie The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro. You know, this guy right here? And like I mentioned, the big thing that I felt makes him look like a sea creature or more like a swamp monster is those little ears he has on the side. They're very bony. The only thing I could describe them is kind of, they look like fish fins, something like that. But yeah, and of course, if you guys have watched any of my other videos, like I've always mentioned, is the second stage. I always think about it as the edgy teenager face, which is why I gave him a little bit of a smirk, so making him look a little bit cocky, you know. And of course, if he's growing, I elongated his body just to make him look a little bit bigger. And with the addition of his elongated tail, it made him look a little bit more like a sea serpent type of shark. It gave him a little bit more of a dangerous edge as opposed to cute and adorable to how he looked in this first stage. And lastly, if he was going to be a teenager, of course I had to give him a mohawk, but instead I made it out of those fin spikes, which I like because it gave him a nice edge to him. And for the color scheme, same thing as the original one. I kept it very close to the Stitch coloring. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you guys thought. And let's go ahead and get started with the final evolution, which honestly is one of my favorites. And right here, I was thinking the same thing. Let's go ahead and sketch out a couple things, maybe thumbnail a character that we could possibly use for inspiration for the final evolution. And same thing, the only big difference is that I decided to turn him from a 4-armed creature to 2 arms and 2 legs and his long tail. I was thinking a little bit more of Godzilla vibes because honestly, Stitch is one of my favorite little guys from the Disney universe, so I knew I had to go big or go home. And for anybody who's watched the original Pokemon, if you guys remember that iconic scene where Dragonite comes out in his first ever episode, you know, where he's giant and he's right next to the lighthouse. Yeah, this scene. I wanted Stitch to be able to rival him and be the king of the sea, which is why I most likely started drawing him a little bit more like Godzilla mixed with a little bit of swamp monster. So this has been an exciting journey. Literally went from thinking mermaid, shark to Godzilla, swamp monster, but I mean, I really enjoyed the way he's turning out. And for his final evolution, I did decide to keep the fins as that little mohawk, as well as expand his ears so he looks a little bit more menacing, and as well added to his tail. So obviously when he's swimming, if that's sticking out, imagine you're a guy in the sea and you see some giant spikes just coming at you at Mach speed. Now that would be a terrifying sight. And like I've mentioned, I always like my drawings to make sense, so obviously I had to give him that big old tail. That way he can obviously get around the ocean. And for his feet as well, I kept them webbed, same reason. And for the teeth, I did decide to make them look sharper and make them look a little bit more like Godzilla. And lastly, just to add on to him, I decided to make his skin a little bit more armored. That way he looked a lot more threatening. And obviously, Dragonite, you're out of your league, boy. We coming for you. And for the colors, we decided to stick to the Stitch blues. And one of the biggest changes I did was the eye, instead of being pure black, I decided to add a little bit of blue just so you can see him looking a little bit more like a water type Pokemon. And lastly, what I feel like put this over the top was the highlights. I felt like that just add that extra pop that he needed to look extra freaking badass. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Now let's go ahead and drop them into environment and go for the reveal. And bam! Alright guys, let me know what you guys think of all three evolutions. As you guys see in the final shot, I did go ahead and throw them into the Pokemon Ocean. And as you guys see, the tentacles in the corner looking amazed just looking at the final evolution of Stitch. And I as well did add some divers into the picture just so you guys can get a comparison of how big these Pokemon are going to be in the Pokeverse, which as you guys see, the final evolution is almost 2 times big as a regular size trainer, which I would say about 9 to 10 feet tall. He's pretty much dwarfing everything in the vicinity except of course the Wailords off in the left hand side. And lastly, I would just like to say thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. And if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button. It's an easy and free way to show support to any creator because it lets the YouTube algorithm know that this is a video that people will enjoy. So please make sure to hit that like button, as well as make sure to subscribe so you guys can stick around for more dope content. And lastly, make sure to comment down below a character that you would like to see me turn into a Pokemon. And other than that, until next time guys, peace.